Hello everyone, Hector Mendoza here. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can bring in data into My Maps, Google My Maps, and you'll be able to schedule per day, okay, in a route that will suit you. I always like going from far away, that way I can travel in the morning. Sometimes it could take 1 or 2 hours to get to those lost locations, especially in California. Then I work my way back to my RV. So I'm going to show you how to do that. And what you would do is you would go into Excel. This is how I manage my claims. From there, I import it into my Google Maps. So I start off with an Excel file that I use to manage my claims. But you're going to have to convert it to a different kind of file in order for you to import it into my Google Maps. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to File. I'm going to save as. For the purpose of this exercise, I'm going to go to my desktop. So I'm going to go to desktop, and then I'm going to name this Sacramento schedule uh, sample. Okay, but the extension is going to have to be this one right here, CSV UTF-8. That's the one, and then it's a .csv. So you want to make sure you select that, and then we're going to hit save. Now you can have a lot of columns here, so the all I really all I really want to keep for right now, I don't need to know uh, the contact time, inspection date, the time of the inspection. I don't have to worry about my money that they pay me. So I select those, and all I have to do is hit delete. And another thing, let me see, there's the zip code. I want to keep their telephone number, the name of the insured, the claim number, and I'm gonna ungroup because I'm able to collapse and expand this. So I want to go. I don't know if this will work if I have it this way. So what I'm going to do is I am going to ungroup it. So you can just go ungroup. Okay, so I want to clean it up. So now that it's in a manageable file, I'm just going to hit Control S because I've already saved it in the right format. So now we're going to go to uh, to my Google Maps. So at the end, and this is what you're going to be able to do, you'll be able to manage this file. For instance, let's say I want to know on Saturday, November the 4th, 2023, I want to know from my location where I'm traveling to, and then I can even go in here and tell it I want to know step by steps. So for that day, I would be traveling 174 miles, which is going to be a total of 3 hours and 46 minutes. My first location is going to be 81.6 miles. It'll take me 1 hour and 26 minutes to get there. From that first location, then it will take me let me see here. Okay, excuse me. So from A to B, the next location from B to C will be 2.25 miles, which is 8 minutes away. Then my next inspection from B to C is 10.4 miles, which is 25 minutes, and so forth. So you're able to get, you know, so once you put this in Word, in my maps, then now you can start calling your insured. Hey, I can be there at 8 a.m. You know, the first one's gonna take 20 minutes. You add an hour, so you add an an, uh, an, uh, an hour and a half, and maybe give yourself 10 or 15 minutes leadway, and so forth. So let me show you how to import this data. Okay, so I want to create a new one. So first of all, you have to create my Google Map account. You have to have a Google account in order to go into this. It's real simple. They're not going to ask you for money. You just have to have a Google account. So go. So let's go to my Google Maps. These are a bunch of my maps that I have. I delete all of them as I go because once I don't need them, I just get rid of them. So we're going to create a new one. We're going to go, I'm going to move this over to the right so you can see what we're doing. There's a couple of ways. Here, let me, I don't need this thing here. Let me hit Control R. I'm trying to make sure that I find my other Excel file that I created. So there's two ways that you can import this data into my maps. First, you can click on import. So first, let me show you what your whole what this thing would look like if you were viewing it, in a complete page. So if I hit import, then I can browse. I can go to my desktop. Okay, and then you find the map that you're looking for. So you double click. I have instructions on how to use it. For now, we're just going to hit number, address, city, state, zip, continue, and I want insured name, and we're going to hit finish. Remember, I have other videos to show you in detail on how to do that. Now, there's the import. Okay, so let me show you a different way. So I'm going to go ahead and get what I just imported. I'm going to delete this layer. So these things are called layers. Okay, so now let's go ahead and do it a different way. I'm going to go back to my Google Maps, and then we're going to create a new one. So this time I'm going to move my window to the right side to show you how to import it in a different way. If I click on the image, I can drag it right here. Then, oops, it didn't do it, excuse me. So I can get it, import it. Oh, excuse me. What you want to do is click on import. Sorry about that. And then left click and bring it right in here. Okay. Then it imports it just like I showed you before. You find the address, city, state, zip, and then number. You hit continue, and then insured name. Hit finish. So that's two ways to doing it. Now that we have imported the data, I'm going to show you how to map your claims. So first of all, what I like doing is I like to kind of make my map look real clear. To me right now it looks too cumbersome. And let me explain what I'm talking about. You see all this names of all the cities and the streets. I don't need none of that for right now. So if you go to base map, there's a down arrow. So this is where you're at right now. The one I like using is this one right here. You see now the names are kind of, they're still there, but they're like real light, like 50% of the color. Another thing, I want to distinguish between this color and the background. So if I click right here where it says all items, once I hover here, this little uh, painter shows up. I'm going to click on it and I'm going to change my color to red. Now it's easy to distinguish between those two colors. That's the first thing I'm going to do. Once the data has been imported, I like to make it look real clear and less cumbersome. So normally your map is probably going to look like this. So this is by default. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of clean it up a little bit. So if I go right here where it says base map, and I'm going to click on the first one, there's different types of maps that you can use. Okay, some of them are harder to read, and I like this one here because it still has the names and everything of the cities and streets, but it's like at 50%. I don't even know what the percentage is, but it looks to me like 50% of the color. Another thing I want to do is, you see how my markers are? They're blue. I'm going to click here. Click right here where there's a painter, and I'm going to change it to a red. That way it's more distinguishable between my map and the markers. The next thing I want to do is I want to look at my data. I want to make sure that the data imported properly, because a lot of programs, there's always a glitch here and there. So, or I might have done something wrong in Excel. So the first thing I'm going to do, you see, this was the name of the Excel file that I brought in. This three little dots to the right of it, if I left click, I'm able to open data table. Now, this first one here has some errors, and I can already see what the error is. You see right here where it says address? For some reason, this address wasn't done properly in Excel, because you see the what is this? Yeah, the telephone number. I must have put in a telephone number instead of an address. So for right now, just for this purpose, and also I'll be able to show you how to edit your data. So I'm going to select the first one. I'm going to right click, and I'm going to delete that row. Now the next one is me. This is where I found a campground for my RV. So I can go in here, I can right click, and I can rename this. For right now, we'll just leave it like this for right now. Okay, so everything else looks okay. So I'm going to close. Now, the next thing we can do is view that list by clicking on this down arrow, and there's all my claims. One quick thing I want to do is show you how to change information on this data from right here. So if I click here, it shows me where where that particular item is. See, if I click here, it takes me to that next location. If I click here, it takes me to, that insured location. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on Hector Mendoza, because that's me. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to change the name of it. Instead of saying Hector Mendoza, I want to edit. You see right here, while I have it selected, I can click here and say edit. So instead of Hector Mendoza, we'll put Hector's RV. Okay, so that's where my RV is going to be. So I'm going to save this. One thing to show you, which is real simple to map your claims. I want to show you a few things that you might not know. for instance, let me close out of here. You see my map right now looks real, like it's clear, right? It's real easy to read. If you go to the bottom here, and I think I've already showed you this, but there's different ways to do this. But I like using this one here. That's the first thing we want to make sure that I do. Okay, so now let's start mapping this. First of all, we're going to start from my location, which is right here, right? Now, at the beginning of each claim, I do something real simple. In other words, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the claims that are real close to me so that I can close them that day. That way I know all my compliances are according to the state's compliances or the carrier's compliances. So we want to make sure that we're doing everything right. So we don't want to travel real far and come back and, it'd be real late by the time you turn this information in. So I'm going to show you how to go in and map this. So at the beginning, I always go real close. I don't do a bunch of claims. So the first 2 days, I'm just going to do 3 claims. That's it. So this is my starting point. So if I hold my control key and then I click on this first one, you see this selected it because it was selected already. So I'm going to click on there. Now, the next thing I need to do is get down here. So you see, no matter what I do, this thing gets in my way. So if I click out of there, while this is selected, I'm going to go the furthest one for that day. So I'm going to click here. Now you can see this one selected. This is selected. Now the next one, I'm going to travel from here to here. Now I want to go here. And then I'll work my way back. So this is the closest one to me. Now that I have all 4 of those selected, you see this little icon right here that says add direction. We're going to click here. Now it gave me the directions. So this is A, B, C, D, and then we would go back to A. Now, so that is my first claims that I'm going to do. So what I'm going to do here is I could actually put the date of it, but I'm going to hold off on that right now. Well, no, you know what? Let's go ahead and do that. That way you get an idea of what we're doing. So this is directions for Hector's RV. We're going to double click here, and then we're going to put, let's say tomorrow. So tomorrow, today's Saturday. So let's say Sunday, and then it's going to be 11/5/2023 or whatever date you're using. This is just an example. So we're going to hit OK. Now that is our date and time for the first one. Now it can get a little cumbersome when you're doing these things. So now what we're going to do is we are going to delete these numbers first from this list, and as I go I'll explain why. So I'm going to go in. So let me write this down real quick. I usually don't have to write it down. I have another Excel file, but to make this thing real easy for us, 64 and 52. Okay, so we're going to go in. I'm going to go down here. I'm going to look for the first one is 23. So, but it would be the name of the insured, right? You see this little delete place? I'm going to delete it. Now, let's go to the next one is 64. Go on 64 and then delete. The next one is 52. So we'll go to 52, delete. And this would actually be names of the insured. Okay, so we want to make sure that we delete them for right now so that we make sure we grab every single claim, because you don't want to leave a claim out. You don't want to be 1 week into the claim and find out that there was a claim that you never scheduled, because that's going to look bad. You got to schedule right away within 24 hours, of the time of receipt of your claims. Now we're going to go ahead and map the next claim. So we're going to go in and start here again. So if I select this first, where my RV is, hold my control key, close out of here, make sure it's still selected. Now this is the furthest one of my next batch that I'm going to put in. So I'm going to click on that one, go down to this one, click on that one. It deselected this one here because they're so close together, right? Watch what I'm going to do. It deselected everything. So I released all my buttons. I'm going to move this over a little bit and give myself a little more room. Okay, so now I'm going to hold my control key. I'm going to select the first one. You can see it's highlighted. I'm going to click on the next one. Now I got two of them that are highlighted. I'm going to click on the second one, and that one's highlighted. And then I click on my third claim. It didn't highlight it. Now it hit, you see, sometimes you got to click around, but now you can see all three of those are highlighted. Now you can click here and then just click on add direction. Now it's going to bring you down here, and at that point you can double click here and call this the next date. So it would be Monday 11/6/2023. I don't know if it's Monday. I think it is, but this is just an example. Okay, now, so it would I really wouldn't have to delete this names here because at this point it's not real cumbersome yet. But I want to get this stuff out of the way. Again, what I'm going to do is I want to select the number 24, 62, and 25. I want to go ahead and delete that from my list. So I'm going to go to my list. I'm going to go to 24 and then hit delete. I'm going to go to 62. Oops, 62. And I'm going to delete. And then I'm going to go to 25 and delete. So now when I'm going looking for the next place, I don't have those there that will be in my way. We're going to bring them back in. So, at this point, I wouldn't worry about anything. Okay. So now it's the second day, and I've turned in my well, actually I'm doing this way before. I'm already scheduling way before I even started. Now that I've done this, now what I'm going to do, by now I should already know the procedures, how they want their claims, and so forth. And I have an idea the severity of the losses that I'm going to have. Now, because first of all, I'm going to be talking to the insured and ask them at the time of my call. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go far. I'm going to look and see which ones are my furthest claims. So I want to come all the way down here. Okay, so this is some of my furthest one. Or look, let's say that it's hard to distinguish between what is further from here to here or from here to here. I think this is further. But what you can do is, you see the measuring distance? If I click here, I can click and drag click, and click. That gives me 87.6 miles, right? So that's one of the furthest one. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go to my measuring device, and I would probably go from here to this road, all the way down here, 87. But basically the same. And I'm going to deselect it by clicking here. So I'm going to go to this area first. Now, oops. So I'm going to try to get all of this batches. When I call them, I'm going to hopefully get all, schedule all of them at one time. So let me show you what I would do. Again, I'm going to start from here because this is where my RV is. Then I'm going to go to the furthest, then the closest one next to me, closer, 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 and so forth. Sometimes you can only do so much, but let's go ahead and enlarge this up a little bit. Oh, I keep on hitting that. Now you want to click on this hand, that way this measuring device doesn't show up again. Okay, so I'm going to click on the first one. Make sure that it's hot. You see that circle, make sure that the circle shows up. I want to hit my control key first. Click on that. Make sure that that's selected. Now, while that's selected, I can move my cursor. I can left click and move this up. So this right here is too close to this. Because if I select this, it's going to be real hard for me to select this one, right? Because they're too close. So while I have my control key, I'm going to move up. And now they're spaced apart. So I'm going to click here. And I see that one selected. I'm going to click here. See, that one is selected. I'm going to click here. That one's selected. Click here. That one's selected. Click here. Now, I'm going to, with my mouse, I'm going to reduce it to make sure that this and all of those are selected. Because if this wasn't selected, then I would have to start all over. One thing to keep in mind, whatever you select first is going to be the very first one that shows up. What you click second is the next one that shows up on that list. So now I can release my control key, click on my add direction, then my directions are going to come down here. I can double click here and say this would be Tuesday, and it would be November, oops, I hit the wrong key, the 17, 2023, hit save. And then, because now look, it does start to get a little cumbersome if you don't remove those names. Because then you have to think twice about, oh, did I get all of them? There might be one in there that you miss. Because sometimes these things are real close to each other. So what we want to go ahead and do is go ahead and delete those. So you're going to go down here, and so we're going to have number 28, 60, 61, 27, and 26. So I'm going to go to my list and go to my first one is 28. Delete that one. Go to 60. Delete it. Go to 61. Delete. Go to 27. Delete. Go to 26. Delete. Now this is what your map is looking like. I have all of them selected. Now let's go ahead and deselect all of those. See how there's no more in these areas. But when you click here, you can see your maps. All right, so this is what I'm going to do. I am going to map the rest of them. You'll see me mapping it, but I'm not going to be talking because I'm going to speed up the speed to about 300 or 400%. Depends on how how it looks at what percentage my speed is. So stay tuned, and then you'll see uh, what the final outcome is, and then I'll do some more talking. All right, so I hope you noticed that I couldn't select anymore. So if I click here, hold my control key, and select some items, you see right here, this is grayed out. It doesn't let me do that. And the reason why is because you can only have 10 layers at a time. Okay, so the first one is layer number 1, and I have an additional 9 layers. So I'll show you what we got to do from here. Uh, First, what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish out naming these things. All right, so now this is what I'm going to do. You see right here where it says untitled map? I'm going to double click here. I'm going to call this map uh, Sacramento schedule number 1, save. Okay, now what I'm going to do is, since I've reached the limit on this one here, I'm going to go in and I'm going to duplicate this. So if I click here, you see right here it says copy map. I'm going to click here and I'm going to name this number 2. Okay, so I've reached the limit on the number on the first one. So so now I'm on the number 2. So I'm going to go ahead and delete the ones that I don't need no more. Okay, so because remember, I already have another map. So I can click here. Let me see if it lets me do 2 at a time. Uh, so I'm probably going to have to do it this way. So let's click here and delete this layer. Delete. And then I'm going to continue deleting these layers. So on the last one, we left off with Monday, November the 22nd. So we're going to continue this. So first of all, we want to make sure that we're selecting the RV where I'm at, and I'm going to go from the furthest to the closest. So let me go ahead and start selecting that stuff. So and you see why I deleted all that other stuff. You see how easy it is to organize what I'm doing. So let's go ahead and start doing that. So I'm going to hold my control key. So we're going to pick 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and directions. All right, guys. So now that you uh, mapped everything, remember we were deleting all the names so that we didn't duplicate any names. So if you go to Sacramento, that that Excel file, you click here and open data table. The only thing that you're going to see is my RV name, right? So you could actually go in here and delete that. We don't need that no more. So I like to keep my stuff clean. Now all we have to do is I'm going to move this page over to the right because I'm going to go to add a layer, and see it brought another layer here. I'm going to import that same Excel file. I'm going to bring it in, and same thing. We're going to put the same data. We're going to hit continue. I want the insured name, finish. Now, here's all the information back. So, you know, so Thursday, so let's say Tuesday, you want to see, let me see here, give me a second, Wednesday. Okay, so let's say that you want to see what's going on. So, you're gonna go in and see the insured name right here. So you see, you can go in and click on the information. So it gives you down here. So let's say insured number 10. You can go into your database um, right here. Click here, go open database, and you're going to look for insured number 10. Okay, so all you got to do is just type 010, and he's going to highlight it, and there's all his information. We're going to do the same thing to the first one. We don't need none of this because this was the thing that I carried on to the next one. So I'm going to delete this layer. I'm going to go in here and add a layer. I'm going to go ahead and push this over. Go import. Click here. Drag it over. Number, address, CD, state, zip. Continue. Insert name. Finish. Expand this. Now you have all the information for those also. Okay. So this makes it real easy to keep up with all your claims. So let's say you don't need this stuff here, right? All you got to do is turn off that one layer. That way it looks clean. And you can always find out if you need the information to this right here, to F. Remember, you got F, which is number 9. And you can go to that database. All right, so that's all there is to it. I use it a lot. I love it. I know it sounds like a lot of work, but I'm telling you, it's not. So the amount of time I spent explaining it to you, more than likely I would have spent less time because I'm explaining things to y'all. So I have to do everything slow so I can explain a little bit. Now, so this is about 50 something claims. On 50 something claims, especially in Florida, on a hurricane, you're going to make, or at least the claims I do, you're probably going to take home pretty close to $100,000. There's other guys that make a lot more for that 1 month. Now, of course, you're not going to make that kind of money going to California because that's not where the money's at. If you want to make money, you want to go towards Florida and on hurricanes. That's where you're going to make your money. Guys, thank you for watching my video. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up, and I will see you on the next video.